birthplace of the Victorian manor, leader in public transport, and hoarder of bees. Seriously, what's with all the bees? But beneath all of this surface charm beats the heart of game development in Australia. The state of Victoria is home to 121 development studios and houses some of the country's best talent. And that's why, for the second year running, Melbourne is the home of the International Games Week, when the city is consumed by game culture and events. And today we're at the Melbourne Exhibition Centre to stand on the shoulders of giants for GCAP 2016, a two-day developers conference designed to bring great minds together to share their knowledge and skills.
Liam, you single-handedly put together this event. What is GCAP? Well played, by the way.
Game Connect Asia Pacific is Australia's premier game developers conference and takes place here in beautiful Melbourne. That's pretty much it.
That's the whole thing?
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, okay. And so what are we going to see over the next couple of days?
Basically, you'll see a lot of game developers getting together, doing talks, listening to each other, learning from each other, having a great time and meeting each other, hopefully. That's sort of the point. We want everyone to sort of hang out, have a good time and get to know as many other game developers, people who can help them, people they can form companies with, people who inspire them and who they can learn from as possible.
Minister, thank you for joining me. Why are days like GCAP important?
So this is a fantastic opportunity, not just for Melbourne, Victoria and Australia's game developers, but to be part of that global development of a really democratic conversation where game developing can continue to go to new and fantastic places. We're already about half of Australia's game developers here in Melbourne. We want to grow that. We want to not just grow it in Australia, we want to grow this as a regional, global, interesting hub where game developers can get together, have those innovative discussions about what's coming over the radar. And they're the kind of supports that we'll take advice from industry, from game developers themselves, as to what are those emerging trends so we can be a part of supporting this really important and growing sector.
You know, Australia is not really the center of the global games industry. It's kind of, we're geographically removed from people. We don't have a lot of big companies here. So it's important that we try and recognize the Australian scene, recognize that there are Australian developers and that there's a community here. And GCAP is kind of that one time of the year where everybody gets to come together and exchange ideas and business cards and learn a lot about what we're all doing and try and help each other improve the Australian game scene.
You're here as a developer, but you're also here as a speaker. Yeah. What would you have wanted to hear 5-6 years ago, before Monument Valley and before that stuff?
You know, I got into games doing art and art direction, and I've always loved that, but I've always actually been really interested in the economics of games, right? Like, how do you make money from your work? What are the ethics around that? What are the business models? How do you run a team? And so, obviously now I have my own studio, and so those things are even more on my mind. And I feel like by going to conferences like GCAP, and by reading articles online, this is how I've kind of learned how to do this.
Ali, what's your GCAP been like?
Oh, it's been kind of stressful, but super exciting so far. I just did my first ever hour-long lecture, which was exhilarating. So it was a talk that was focused on kind of teaching indie devs and publishers how to work with cosplayers in kind of an ethical and effective way. There are very few spaces to talk about cosplay from a business perspective, so it was super exciting for GCAP to give a platform to that kind of conversation. I mean, we all as creatives are better when we're challenged by things, so GCAP kind of gives a platform for those challenges and those discussions. It's funny, I was such a big gamer for so long, and then I worked sort of in the cosplay promotional aspect of things, so I was always kind of just on the outskirts of the games industry, and now kind of an enlightening process. Something that I think was always very intimidating was it felt like everyone in game development was so smart and just knew so much stuff about everything. And sort of the more you work in the space and the more you get to know everyone, everyone's just people doing their best and they're all just really hardworking creatives. So it's a very inspiring atmosphere to be part of.
The games industry is a very social one, and even the process of making games is hugely communicative. We all get in a room, we talk a lot, and we create a product, and we're all very, very different. And so this kind of event, sort of preps us for that. It's a way of getting to know people who are really different to yourself, people from different fields, artists, programmers, audio engineers, writers, all of the above, and getting to know them and learning how that works, and eventually, forming teams like Hipster Whale, who made Crossy Road, was formed right here at GCAP in 2013.
And so what do you hope all the people out there who are currently having coffees and meeting each other, what do you hope they take away from the event?
I hope they take away the idea that they can do anything, be anything, do what they want, make amazing games, meet amazing people, have a fantastic time, and go out into the world and make cool shit.
And if they don't, at least you've got their money now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's great.
Good.
I think I have absolutely no interest in VR. Absolutely none whatsoever.
Okay, why is
Absolutely none. Because I think 20, 25 years from now, VR will be an amazing thing that will rule our lives. I think that it is 25 years off.